Welcome to Bajo la Rosas, where another pretty yandere breaks into your house, makes you a meal, then leaves. Wait, what? But it turns out you might be just as twisted as he is, and you may have some history with him. Do stick around after these disclaimers, cause you're gonna want to see this pretty boy in action.
Day 1. Germ of Desire. I loved my home. Not just for the happy memories I built there, but for the way it seemed to embrace me with its love in every corner. Every step I took, every corner, every rose, everything spoke to me of love. But no matter how much I loved it, no matter how much I wished to stay forever, no matter how many times I told, day after day, how much I cared, it seems like it was never enough. Funny, isn't it? In fairy tales, they always talk about happily ever after. But no one ever tells you that forever is actually very short. Well, I suppose it doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that I took it with me. Because no matter where I go, my home has always lived here. And that means I can create something just as beautiful, maybe even better. I think the most concerning thing is that I've been here for over 2 weeks and I still haven't finished unpacking. The space is much smaller than what I was used to in my old house. And between one thing and another, I always ended up watching videos for at least 3 hours. Alright. I knelt in front of a couple of boxes, big enough to fit a person inside, and start rummaging through their contents for what must have been the 100th time. Kitchen. God, where the hell did I put my goddamn kitchen? I've been eating with plastic cutlery because I can't remember where I packed the real ones. Oh, my cutleries. Cutlery 1, me 0. I'm a mess. But if I'm going to start over, it has to be perfect. I stopped for a moment to look at the chaos around me. And on top of one of the boxes, I spotted a yellow envelope. The apartment paperwork, the one I was supposed to turn in about 3 days ago. I searched for a pen, pulled the paper out of the envelope, and started inspecting the fields, looking for the ones I had yet to fill out. My name Lion is, it's Lion, confirma. My pronouns, I guess he. Carefully, I packed it back and left it on the table so I wouldn't forget to drop it off tomorrow. Then I turned my attention back to the place. The apartment itself looked nice enough, but seeing it so empty filled me with unease. My eyes scanned the room, wondering which box to dig into next, until they landed on the imposing sliding door in the corner. Who would have thought? An apartment with a garden. I didn't even know those existed. I always thought apartments were designed to squeeze every last inch of space. Suddenly, a loud noise broke my train of thought. From the ceiling, a series of heavy, continuous thuds rang out, like someone was playing baseball, testing how many hits it would take to break the ceramic floor. I sighed, slightly annoyed. Really would have preferred getting a house, but time was breathing down my neck and I didn't have the luxury to look for something better. My eyes drifted back to the glass door leading to the patio, and then an idea struck me. I got it! So that's what was missing. I carefully maneuvered through the scattered mess on the floor, as if navigating an improvised parkour course. Unlike those damn cutlery pieces, I knew exactly where to find what I needed to make this place feel like home. I reached for one of the more isolated boxes, one that looked different from the rest. I grabbed it carefully and sat down on the floor, peeling off the tape with the same delicacy as unwrapping a precious gift. And there they were. Wrapped in plastic and cushioned by colorful damp towels, a bouquet of red roses, roots and all. So beautiful, so perfect, that just look at them felt intoxicating. I felt my heart grow lighter. These roses were truly important to me. I lifted the bouquet with the utmost care, as if holding a multi-million-dollar painting. The wrapping crinkled under my fingers as I peeled back layer after layer, like an artist undressing his muse. But something made me freeze. Something was wrong. A sour smell invaded my nose. I felt my body tense, my skin prickling. With the bouquet fully unwrapped, I pushed aside a few roses until I reached the bottom.
What am I looking at?
And there it was, a completely rotten rose. No. No. In desperation, I start plucking away the damaged petals. One by one, they fell to the floor, but the more I tried to save it, the faster it seemed to decay before my eyes, as if it was desperately trying to escape me. At last, only the bare stem remained in my hand. Tears began falling before I even realized it. I clenched the stem so tightly that the thorns pierced my skin. But the physical pain was nothing compared to the agony of seeing my beloved rose dead. I shot to my feet, still gripping the stem. A loud buzzing echoed in my head, making me stumble and nearly fall. I felt my body temperature rise rapidly. My vision blurred with tears, and my jaw trembled violently, as if about to shatter. With every passing second, breathing became harder. This isn't my fault. I took care of you! I did everything right so you'd stay with me forever! You can't do this to me. You can't pay me back like this after everything I did for you! The stem slipped from between my fingers, falling to the ground. My body trembled uncontrollably. A thick, red haze clouded my thoughts, and the air grew heavy. Wait. Am I the yandere here? I feel like I probably am. Probably. Breathing hurts. Each inhale felt like sharp knives driving into my chest. I began pacing desperately, knocking over everything in my path. Damn it! I slammed hard against the wall. I turned and grabbed it with my bloodied hands and... The hell? A metallic scent filled the air. I felt a deep pain consuming me, slowly spreading through my entire body. Like a viscous mass, trying to bury me alive. Buried alive. I hope that never really happened. What is that? Slowly, a soft scent began to surround me. Sweet, but not too much. Somehow familiar. This smell. I frowned, trying to place it. It reminds me of something. Something warm and joyful. I opened my eyes with difficulty. I brought a hand to my forehead and blinked several times, trying to collect my thoughts. The hell happened? I looked around. I recognized the bed, the walls, even the small table by the window. It was my room. How convenient, since I definitely didn't leave it this tidy. The curtains were up, slightly parted, letting in just enough light without hitting my face directly. The furniture I had left stacked against the door was now neatly arranged, perfectly aligned. Even the decorations I had scattered all over the floor were now carefully placed. And for some reason, everything was arranged exactly like my room in my old house. On top of that, I noticed I was tucked in perfectly under my blankets, wrapped with meticulous care. I don't remember lying down here. Wait. Hang on. So you're telling me it's a yandere x yandere story again. Is that what I'm hearing here? Except for some reason I'm obsessed with my flowers for some reason. That seems to be the case. In which case, I'm curious to see how this goes. As my gaze wandered across the room, something caught my attention. The amount of light filtering through the curtains looked like it was daytime. The last time I was conscious, it was early at night. No. How long was I asleep? I tried to sit up, but my body didn't respond, and gravity pulled me back against the mattress. Ugh! Damn it. Everything hurts. I lifted my trembling hand to my forehead and noticed a strip of fabric placed there. Is this a bandage? I looked at my other hand. It was also wrapped, carefully and precisely. What is this? Suddenly I heard a faint noise on the other side of the door, like someone pacing back and forth.
Wait. Someone? Is someone in my apartment? How the hell did someone get in? Is that why everything looks so organized? For a moment, my mind went completely blank as I thought about the last part again.
Everything organized.
Maybe I should get up. I feel like I should get up. Getting up seems like a good idea. I'm gonna make a save. Just saying. What do you mean available soon? God damn it, I get up!
With superhuman effort, I managed to get out of bed. I carefully approached the door and pressed my ear against the cold wood. Silence. I slowly opened the door, praying that my bad luck wouldn't strike me at this exact moment, and made it creak like a demon. Everything is fine. Suddenly I heard footsteps approaching me from behind.
Yeah, no, this is it for me! I spun around, ready to face my fate, because if I was gonna die, I at least wanted to see it coming. I can die happily now! Instinctively, I took the first defensive stance that came to mind. But, no knife? No gun? He's not gonna kill me? Is he gonna smooch me? Does he have like a hidden weapon down in his trousers? I'm gonna need to pull him down to see just in case.
So he doesn't really look like a thief either. Sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm glad you woke up. I was starting to get worried. His voice was soft and calm, with a tranquility that completely threw me off.
How could he say that when a stranger had just broken into my apartment?
I felt my panic rising, my face turning pale, my
happy stick stiffening.
I quickly stepped back, careful not to trip over anything.
Who are you? What are you doing in my apartment? How did you even get in?
Without taking my eyes off of him, I fumbled behind me for something.
Anything I could use to defend myself from this lunatic who clearly has a dangerous weapon in his pants.
My hands hit something sharp. I grabbed it tightly and pointed it straight at him.
Are you kidding me? A fork! I mean,
hey, if he's down for a little bit of prodding, I'd be more than down.
Oh, kill me.
I clenched the fork as tightly as I could, trying to hide the trembling in my hands.
I can't let this guy see I'm scared and pricked up. I don't want to end up on some cheap news channel as a headline sliced up in his own apartment.
But to my surprise, the guy didn't react at all. No stepping back, no sudden movements. He simply lowered his gaze to my weapon.
Well, I'm gonna lower my gaze to his weapon.
I saw him bite his lips, clearly trying to suppress a smile.
Oh, he's too pretty!
Were you planning to stab me or invite me to dinner?
But what about both? Can I stab you then invite you for dinner, or does it have to be the other way around? Do I need to take you out for dinner first? I don't know if I should feel offended or completely humiliated.
Is this normal for him breaking into strangers' homes? Seriously, I'm sorry. To be honest, I had already thought of a few ways to explain myself. But I have to admit, your excellent attack wasn't in any of the possible scenarios I had imagined. You surprised me. The guy watched me for a few moments and his body tensed slightly. He took a step back and his expression softened. Maybe he realized I was on the verge of losing my nerves. Hey, relax. I'm not here to hurt you. Actually, I'm the one who should be scared of you and that dangerous fork.
Oh, cut the jokes! You're not answering my questions! Who are you? How did you get in here? Why do you look so good? Like, goddamn, like, where'd you get your makeup from? Because I need to know. I don't know if I want to be you or be with you. Maybe both. Actually, you know what? Like, I don't care which order it has to be in.
He fell silent for a few seconds, staring at me intently. I understand this must be really strange for you. And I promise I can explain everything, okay? But first, are you sure you're okay? He reached out towards the bandage on my forehead, but stopped halfway and simply pointed to his own. You, hit your head pretty hard. Suddenly I noticed the faint stinging in my hands and the pressure in my head. I remembered the bandages covering my hands along with the piece of gauze on my forehead. You? Don't push yourself. You were in pretty bad shape when I found you, and I thought you didn't wake up so soon. I stayed silent, trying to process it. So, he was the one who bandaged me? Sorry. I know it's a lot to take in all at once, but seriously, how do you feel? Headache? Dizziness? Do you want me to change your bandages? I love this man so much. I need him. I don't even know your name. His voice had a calmness that completely disarmed me, though I couldn't decide if that was reassuring or unsettling. And his eyes looked so familiar. Where have I seen them before? I'm fine, I think. I said it more out of instinct than certainty. My body still felt heavy, but I didn't want to give him any more reasons to stay. Are you sure? Because when I saw you... He paused, as if choosing his words carefully. I noticed him spinning the silver rings on his fingers. I live in the tower across the street. I was passing by when I heard a loud thud. I didn't really care at first, but then the smell of blood started coming from your apartment. I knocked to ask if everything was okay, but no one answered, and then the door just opened on its own. And there you were. He gestured towards the floor near the couch. After making sure I had looked where he was pointing, he crossed his arms. Believe me, breaking into houses for fun isn't really my thing. I frowned. Did I really leave the door open? I mean, it's not such a crazy idea. With how absent-minded I am, I wouldn't be surprised if I also left the stove on. I shook my head, trying to focus on what actually mattered. That still doesn't explain why you decided to stay. His reddish eyes stared at me in disbelief. Like I was the one not making any sense. Alright, let's look at it this way. Would it have made more sense for me to find someone bleeding on the floor and not try to help? I guess not. I hate to admit it, but he definitely has a good point. I guess I should thank you, but don't think you should stay. I want him to stay! I want him to stay! And I want to know his name so I know, what I'm screaming later tonight. I hate to admit it, but he definitely has a good point. Leaving you alone seemed like a bad idea. Besides, I wanted to make sure you were completely okay. So, now I see you're completely prepared for any emergency with that. But hey, in critical situations, creativity is key. Points for you. I lowered my gaze to my hands, which were still gripping the fork. I was starting to feel a little guilty. He had helped me, and I was just attacking him. I sighed and finally let go of the plastic fork, placing it back on the table where I'd grabbed it from. Alright, I believe you. I looked around curiously. But why is everything so neat? I definitely didn't leave it like this. The guy tensed for a moment and simply shrugged. While I was waiting for you to wake up, I picked up a little thing and put it in its place. Then another and another, and let's just say I got a little carried away. His tone grew a bit sheepish, and he started glancing around as if he wasn't fully aware of how much he had tidied up. He shook his head and quickly returned to his usual relaxed demeanor. But you have to admit, this place needs some fixing. It honestly looked like a battlefield than an apartment. Even your poor bed, overflowing with clothes, wasn't spared. Alright, I have to admit, I appreciate that. Not every day someone breaks into your place and cleans it for free. At that moment, my thoughts came to a screeching halt. I start scanning the room with growing anxiety. Hey, wait, where are my roses? Your roses? Yeah, I had a beautiful bouquet of red roses. They were... I quickly looked towards the spot on the floor where I had left them last night, but they were gone. My chest tightened. I looked at him with pleading desperation.
I was definitely about to pass out again.
For a moment, his expression changed, and he hesitated slightly, but he quickly returned to his usual tone. Yeah. He gestured towards the kitchen door. He had left them scattered everywhere, but surprisingly, they were still in decent shape. They just lost a few petals and... He seemed like he wanted to say something else, but stopped himself. Though I could already guess, it was probably about the blood-stained buttless stem left on the floor. I picked them up and put them in water. I let out a breath, feeling my heart settle back to its normal rhythm. There was a slight discomfort knowing someone else had touched something so important to me. But I was grateful that at least most of them had been saved. They're really beautiful. Did you grow them yourself? Yeah, I love roses.
That wasn't entirely true. Well, not 100%.
Loving them isn't enough. It's such a tiny, insignificant word compared to what I feel for them. Saying only that would be like looking at a star and calling it pretty. It doesn't do it justice. Saying I love them and leaving it at that feels far too shallow.
But obviously, I wasn't about to tell my entire life story about roses to a complete stranger, no matter how hot he is.
So I just looked away. I see. You know, not everyone has the dedication to create and care for something this beautiful. You're really talented. His words caught me off guard. I felt a faint warmth creeping up my cheeks and quickly averted my gaze. I guess. I tried to sound indifferent, but that was definitely not my strong suit. Before he could respond, I hurried to change the subject. Alright, I guess I owe you a thank you. If you hadn't shown up, I probably would have ended up with an infection or just kept lying there, bleeding out. Oh, what's that thank you? I didn't quite hear it. Could you say it again?
Oh, I am regretting this. Complete, utter regret.
I shot him a death glare. All right. I'm sorry. You're welcome. His smile shines, and that faint flush on his cheeks feel familiar. For just a second, that warmth takes me to a place I thought I had lost forever. Why does he look so pretty? Like, goddamn, I just want to eat him. I don't know if... I don't know how I want him. That's the thing. Like... It's so hard for me to just imagine what exactly I want to do to him or what I want him to do to me, okay? And I don't know how y'all feel about it. Like, let me know, dude. Like, let me know in the comments below just how badly you need this man. Oh, God. I shook my head to clear those thoughts. This is definitely not the time to get nostalgic. Do you want something to drink? I mean... I don't have much, but there's water, some sodas. I start walking towards the kitchen, passing by him. Man, he's too pretty! Oh, no need. Don't trouble yourself with that. Actually, let me make you something to eat. You must be starving. How did you know? Are you really that surprised? He took a step towards me, keeping a respectful distance. You've been sleeping since early last night. At least, I don't know, more than 15 hours. So I doubt you'll last much longer without eating something. He leaned slightly towards me, just close enough to get a better look at my face. Besides, ever since you woke up, you've been getting paler and paler. It's not too obvious, but it's noticeable. And it's easy to tell when someone has less energy than usual.
Well, we've got ourselves a Mr. Observant here.
Wait, than usual? But don't worry, I won't let you starve. It's not that bad, I'm fine. He didn't respond. He just kept looking at my face for a few more silent seconds. It's kind of uncomfortable, to be honest. However, his unwavering gaze also gives me a chance to observe his face more closely. I hadn't thought about it before, but if it was already daytime, that meant he had been taking care of me all night. Yet despite that, he didn't look tired at all. So,
maybe it was just because of his flawless red makeup.
Without another word, He stepped away and walked towards the fridge, slipping off his silver rings. All right. I'll take care of it. Take care of what? Making you something to eat. If you don't eat, you'll feel worse. If you feel worse, I'll worry. If I worry, I won't leave. Though honestly, I wouldn't mind looking after you again, as long as I don't have to clean up blood next time. I rolled my eyes as he opened the fridge, scanning its contents quickly. Wait, you don't have to do that. Seriously, I'm fine. You know, it's not about whether I have to do it. It's that I want to. And you won't stop me until I see you've eaten something decent. So, what do you like to eat? And don't you dare say nothing. What if I say anything's fine? He threw me an amused glance over his shoulder, a barely concealed smile on his lips. All right, suit yourself. I'll make whatever I want. Great, I basically just signed a contract without reading the fine print. I sighed but didn't argue any further. Meanwhile, the guy moved around the kitchen with impressive skill and speed. It was like watching a live cooking competition on TV, except without the hysterical screams of the audience. Every knife cut was precise, the way he sautéed the ingredients was flawless, and he even seemed to know all the measurements by heart. I wanted to ask if I could help with something, but seeing his pace, that would definitely just get in the way. With nothing else to do, I leaned against the counter and watched him in silence. Hey. He paused for a moment, turning his head towards me with curiosity. It just hit me. I don't even know his name. I don't know his name, and I'm already letting him cook me. I'm already letting him cook me lunch. What kind of medieval servitude is this? He tilted his head slightly, a playful expression crossing his face as he noticed my bewilderment. Ah! Rin. Huh? My name's Rin. Nice to meet you. Pookie? Who called? What? Who calls like someone they like Pookie? I mean, like, I know people do it ironically, but no one says it in a sultry manner. Why? What? What's wrong? Surprised that we're close enough for nicknames? What do you mean close enough? We don't even know each other that well. I don't know. Technically, I saved your life, took care of you all night, and now I'm making you lunch. If you think about it, we've already passed several important stages. Stages of what? Our future marriage, obviously. What? No, that is not obvious at all. That's not how relationships work. So, how much time do you need to accept that I'm the love of your life? 1 more day? 2? 0! I need 0 days for that! Well, we'll see about that, dear denial-ridden partner. I ran a hand over my face, letting out a frustrated sigh. He really seems to find everything amusing. And apparently I'm part of that everything too! All right. Back to what really matters. Feeding the damsel in distress. I am not a damsel in distress! Oh? You're not? Well then, I guess I'll keep calling you Pookie. I crossed my arms, puffing my cheeks slightly. I am not Pookie. He lets out another laugh, clearly amused by my indignation, before turning his attention back to the food. A few minutes later, the warm aroma of freshly cooked food filled the room. It smelled really good. Rin turned back to me, placing a plate of food and a glass of deep purple juice on the table beside me. Oh my god, why is it so cute? It's so cute! I leaned in closer to the plate, taking in every detail in awe. Not only did it smell amazing, but it also looked adorable! Eating it almost felt like a crime! The comforting scent of warm food hits me all at once. It had been so long since anyone had cooked for me. I eagerly sat down to try it. Where did you learn to make this? I used to cook for the kids at an orphanage. They loved it when I made little shapes in their food. Sometimes they'd even start making up stories and playing instead of eating. So lunchtime turned into playtime whenever I cooked. Absent-mindedly, he spun one of his rings around his finger.
When did he put those back on?
I got scolded a few times for it, but it was worth it just to see them happy. He fell silent for a moment, staring at the table. Then, after blinking a couple of times, he seemed to realize he had shared something quite personal. But he just smiled, slipping back into his usual attitude. Also, honestly, my best ones were the rice bunnies. They're easier than other shapes, and besides, they're super cute, don't you think?
Is he trying to change the subject while staying on the same topic?
Oh, so you worked in an orphanage, huh? It's obvious he cared a lot. Yeah, something like that. He didn't look me in the eyes, but it was clear he didn't want to talk about it any further. I didn't want to make him uncomfortable either, so I just focused on my food. I took a bite, and as soon as the flavor spread across my palate, my eyes widened in astonishment. This is amazing. The fluffy texture of the rice contrasted perfectly with the softness of the vegetables. There was a perfect balance between sweet and savory, with a hint of spices that gave it a comforting, almost familiar taste. It was warm, homey, filled with something I couldn't quite describe, but that felt like a hug in a form of food. Rin chuckled at my exaggerated reaction, then leaned against the counter with his arms crossed, watching me as I continued enjoying my meal. For a few minutes, everything felt peaceful. The atmosphere was really comfortable, almost familiar, like we had known each other for much longer than we actually had. As I kept eating, savoring every bite, a strange feeling washed over me. Warmth. But it wasn't just from the food. It came from him.
Am I getting obsessed with him? 'Cause that tracks. That really tracks.
It was happiness, but not the shallow kind. It was the kind of joy that fills the deepest part of your heart, the kind a child feels when they come home after a long day and find someone waiting for them with open arms. And that's when I realized I'd felt this before. This exact warmth, the same sense of security, like I was exactly where I was supposed to be, where I had always been meant to be. I tried to grasp the memory, to hold onto that lost fragment, but it was like trying to catch sand with my fingers. Frustrated, I closed my eyes for a moment. Have we met before? The question slipped out in a whisper before I even realized it. Thankfully, Rin didn't seem to hear me. I shook my head. Maybe I'm just imagining things. Yeah, that had to be it. Rin's phone vibrated against the counter. He picked it up and turned on the screen. For a moment, he seemed to hold his breath, and the warmth in his eyes dulled. Rin? He stared at the message for a second longer before exhaling slowly. Sorry, Lion. He slipped the phone into his pocket and looked at me. I have to go. Huh? So suddenly? Rin nodded, glancing away for an instant before looking back at me with his usual smile, though this time, something about it felt different. You know, despite how all this turned out, I'm really glad I met you. He didn't give me a chance to respond before he started walking towards the kitchen door. Right before crossing through, he turned back and raised a hand in a casual wave. Without another word, he left. The door shut behind him, and I heard his footsteps heading towards the main exit until finally, the sound of the front door closing echoed through the space. I stayed there in silence, still a little unsettled by his sudden departure.
Oh, damn! Okay, Day 2 is still in development and will be available in September. Nice. Okay. Definitely looking forward to it. Okay, before we end it, I do want to get some of the other CGs, so I'm gonna see what happens if we stay in bed. But for the context of future playthroughs, I am continuing off from my last set of choices. So yeah, let's stay in bed.
Fear and anxiety took hold of me, freezing me in place. My heart pounded wildly, as if it was about to burst out of my chest at any second. A sudden dizziness washed over me, and my whole body went stiff.
What the hell am I supposed to do? Does he want money?
Maybe he just wants to get rid of me, After everything I've done, I'm honestly surprised they haven't locked me up before. Should I go and defend myself? I have nothing to fight with. That'll be like walking straight into the lion's den. 1,000 different scenarios raced through my mind, and every single one of them ended with me dead. In the end, I chose to stay silent, listening intently to every little noise, clinging to the faint hope that whoever was in my apartment would just leave. Because if they hadn't done anything to me yet, there had to be a reason. It felt like hours passed, though I couldn't really tell. I was too afraid to even move, scared that they'd hear me, that they'd realize I was awake and come for me. The footsteps continued for a while longer, and then finally, thank God I heard the front door close. I shot out of the bed and ran as fast as I could to the front door. My hands were trembling so badly that it took me a few tries to lock it properly, but I managed. I let out a sigh as my legs gave out, leaving me on the floor. I leaned against the door, trying to steady my breathing. I think I would prefer the lion. Once my vision cleared again, I finally noticed it. What? Why is the living room cleaned up too? Still a little dizzy, I carefully stood up and made my way towards the table. There's a note. Sorry if this feels weird. I know waking up to a note from a stranger in your apartment isn't exactly pleasant. I found you unconscious and bleeding on the floor, so I let myself in to help. I cleaned up a little and tidied the place so you'd be more comfortable when you woke up. I also made you something to eat. I don't know what you like, but I hope it's enough to help you regain some energy. I understand this might feel like an invasion, and I apologize if it does, but I couldn't just ignore you in that state. By the way, I'm Rin. I live in the tower across from yours, so if you need anything, just let me know. I'll be keeping an eye on you. Get some rest and take care. Huh. Clever. I didn't want to admit it, but this excuse made a lot of sense. Looking around, nothing really seemed to be missing. But it was strange. Everything was set up exactly the way I used to organize my old place. Could it just be a coincidence? Maybe we just have the same taste in decor. Yeah, that had to be it. Better not overthink it, even if I wanted to. I couldn't come up with a more logical answer. The warm aroma of freshly made food hit me as soon as I stepped into the kitchen. Smells good. On the counter, there was a plate of food. Next to it, one of my vases. Inside, carefully placed in water, were my beloved roses. And despite everything that had happened, they looked perfect. My gaze drifted back to the plate of food. I still can't get over how cute this is. Does he think I'm still a kid, or is this just how he normally cooks? I stared at the food for a moment, and before I realized it, my eyes stung with unshed tears, a lump forming in my throat. It's been a long time since anyone cooked for me. The taste was warm, comforting, like a hug in the form of food. It felt like happiness in the shape of a meal. This feeling, it was so familiar. I closed my eyes, trying to dig deep into my mind, searching for the memory that brought me such warmth. Do I actually remember something? My hands were freezing. The tip of my nose had turned red. Everything was blurry, though I wasn't sure if it was because of the winter cold or the tears I refused to let fall. Today hadn't been a good day. I didn't want to go home like this. I didn't want Mom to see me like this. She'd probably just get mad at me. So I came here. Here, everyone is kind, warm, full of light and love. Love that they had no envy in sharing, as long as it makes you happy. Or at least, that's what he always told me. I sighed, watching the mist on my breath rise into the frigid air. It didn't take him long to find me. As always, he knew exactly where I'd be. Lion! There you are. His calm voice made me crumble, like just hearing him was enough to make me feel at home. He walked over without hesitation, and before I could say anything, he slid his white scarf around my neck. Your hands are freezing, he murmured, taking my fingers in his and rubbing them gently. How long have you been out here? It's so cold. You'll get sick at this rate. I could see the concern in his eyes, even through my messy hair. I didn't respond. I just lowered my gaze, focusing on the warmth of his hands around mine. You don't have to tell me what happened if you don't want to. Just, I don't like seeing you like this. The warmth in his voice, the tenderness, it only made it harder to hold back my tears. Ah! You know, no matter how hard your day has been, you should never let anyone take away your beautiful smile. And if you ever feel like crying, let it only be for what's truly worth it, because no one, not even me, deserves to be the cause of your pain. You're stronger than you think. You just get lost in the noise of your thoughts. I'm not. Yes, you are. You're strong. You're brilliant. And even if you sometimes forget, I never will. No matter what happens, I'll stay by your side to remind you as many times as necessary. His hands tightened around mine, as if trying to anchor me to reality, to him. And for a moment, the world didn't feel so cold.
Ah, that was heckin' sweet. But there's still one more CG to get, so I'm just gonna bring you all there. Okay, as much as I don't want to be mean, I guess I should thank you, but I don't think you should stay here.
I guess I should thank you, but I don't think you should stay here. He blinked a couple of times at my response, but instead of getting upset, he just tilted his head slightly, as if considering something. Fair enough. I don't blame you for being cautious. It's not every day you wake up with a stranger in your home. There wasn't a hint of anger or sarcasm in his voice. In fact, he sounded understanding. I won't stay here if you don't want me to, especially if my presence makes you uncomfortable. But before kicking me out, at least let me change that bandage. If it gets infected and you end up losing an arm, I'd feel guilty. I promise. I don't bite, but I want you to! Fine, but make it quick. As you command. He made me sit on the couch, picked up the bandages and the first aid kit from the table, and walked towards me with an easygoing stride. Sorry, this might sting a little. It's fine, don't worry about it. The guy knelt on the floor in front of me and reached out with his hands, silently asking for mine. If I didn't know the context, I'd swear this was a scene straight out of a romance movie with the prince asking for his beloved's hand. I really need to stop watching so much TV. Feeling a bit embarrassed, I looked away and placed my hands on his. I felt his skin shiver slightly at the contact, but he tried to hide it. With great care, he started removing the old bandages from my hands, doing his best to avoid touching my skin directly. He prepared the cotton with saline solution and dabbed it gently over the cuts on my palm. It stung a little, but I did my best to keep from making a face. Once he finished, he wrapped my hands with fresh bandages. Even though he was done, he lingered for a few seconds, silently staring at my hands. Is something wrong? Huh? Oh, no. Don't worry. It's nothing. It's just, you have a lot of scars on your hands. They look old. I lowered my gaze. I didn't like talking about it. It's nothing important. He didn't say anything, and instead of insisting, he simply wrapped my hands in his, with a warmth I didn't expect. I think scars are like constellations in the sky. From a distance, they just look like tiny marks, imperfections on what was once a smooth surface. But if you really look at them, if you truly see them, you can find stories in them. You can see someone's maps, the roads they've traveled, the battles they've won. His fingers traced the back of my bandaged hand with a gentle touch. And no matter how broken they may seem, they're still beautiful. Because they're proof that, no matter what happened, you're still here. My throat tightened. I did not know what to say. No one had ever seen my scars as anything other than flaws or signs of weaknesses. But he looked at them like they were something precious. My chest felt strange, as if an invisible knot were tightening around my heart. But for some reason, this time I didn't want to pull away. Slowly, I placed my hand over his. Even though our skin didn't touch, I could feel the warmth radiating from him. It was a familiar feeling, one I thought I'd lost a long time ago. And for the first time in years, I felt seen, not as something to be fixed, but, well, not as someone to be pitied at all. Just seen for who I was. Gently, he gave my hand a slight squeeze and took a few steps back, helping me to my feet. Hey. Huh? I don't even know your name. The boy blinked in surprise before letting out a soft chuckle. You're right. That's a bit of a problem, isn't it? My name's Rin. It's nice to meet you, Lion. I guess. Rin laughed at my response. My voice had clearly shaken a bit. It had been a long time since I'd felt this nervous. Well, mission accomplished. You know, despite how everything happened, I'm really glad I met you. You're a very beautiful person, Lion. He walked towards the door, but before leaving, he turned to look at me one last time. Take care, Pookie. I am not Pookie! And with that, he disappeared through the door. The sound of his footsteps slowly faded until eventually they were gone. But I didn't tell him my name, did I? I don't think I told him my name.
Anyway, that was Bajo La Rosas. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys do want to play this for yourselves, link to the game will be in the description below. And not gonna lie, I am definitely looking forward to the full release of this. I kind of love the dynamic between Rin and MC. Like, it kind of hints at, like, two obsessive people, like, being together. And I don't know if they're going to take, like, the twisted route or if they're going to take a much more, like, fluffier approach. Because, honestly, like, two people absolutely delulu and in love with each other. Like, we need to see more of that. Like, I just love that dynamic so much. It is so fun. It is genuinely so fun. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have a lovely rest of the day. And as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. This is Lion, signing off. Ciao.